Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to be talking about the European Union, funny enough, doing some legislative change to change how in-game purchases and in-game currencies are going to be displayed in Europe specifically, hopefully making it so other countries might have to, or at least game companies might have to do a universal change because it'll be really annoying for them to do a change just for one region, but we'll see. China does exist and there's a lot of things that are specifically only to China. We're going to be on Dexerto today. This is by Carver Fisher. Thank you for the article. I really appreciate it. It'll be linked down in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. The title goes, European Union makes legislative change that will change in-game purchases forever. And I think the biggest deal on this one is that it's the European Union, not just a European country. Because there's a couple countries, I think Belgium comes to mind, that they have specific things against certain in-game purchases. For instance, loot boxes is counted as gambling in certain European countries. So, like, for instance, the one prime example I know of is that Pokemon Unite isn't available in all European countries because in the countries where loot boxes count as gambling and Pokemon Unite has like a loot box system, it's just not available there because they have to make changes to that and they just didn't want to, so it's not available in those countries. Which makes sense when it's by country basis, but if it's the entire European Union making changes like this, it's different. It could change how things are just changed for everyone. Now, it's not specifically loot boxes, it's just how things are displayed, so it might be easier to do to just have that because it's just a simple number change, I'm pretty sure, from what I can tell. But yeah, just before we get deeper into the article, I'd like to remind everyone, please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Comment down below what you guys think about this and all the differences for the European Union and for the changes. And please, if you like to check out some other stuff on my channel, I do a podcast called Two Buds One Podcast as well with my friend Alchem Games. So if you want to check that out, please check that out. As a result of a complaint that was filed and related to Star Stable, a free-to-play horse game mainly marketed towards children, the European Union has penned a long list of guidelines that have urged publishers to make in-game monetization more transparent and straightforward. Europe's CPC, Consumer Protection Corporation Network, confirmed that they're calling for changes in the ways games present their currency. And honestly, this is a really good step forward because one of the biggest ways to confuse the consumer is to have currencies on currencies on currencies for free-to-play games, especially free-to-play mobile games. So you don't actually know how much money you're spending when it's converted into a different type of currency, like gems or whatever. Because when you have to turn your money into gems and those gems into tickets, and then those tickets can do something in the in-game shop, it's really hard to tell how much money you're actually spending for something. The set of key principles targets in-game currency demanding action to be taken to make the price of items more clear. Any company that doesn't do this for games sold in the EU is subject to litigation moving forward, which is good. While this isn't expected to be an overnight change for every game, that's true. They do have to give them some legal say of like, you have a certain amount of months to do this. Because, you can't just say you have to change into right now because they're video games. You have to code things. You have to change it. So understandable that you can't just do it overnight. The main game that brought up this issue and caused reform has a month to reply to the EU's plea and show they committed to remedying them. There's no telling which publisher will be next. Interesting. So it's just a month. I mean, a month is a decent amount of time, so that makes sense. The EU makes legislative change against microtransactions. In essence, these principles are meant to make it so in-game currency is treated the same as legal tender from a legislative standpoint. In other words, there's no space for exemptions. That makes sense. I wonder, legal tender, that just means currency, right? Or like money, if I remember correctly. If I understand that term correctly, I'm pretty sure that just means it's treating it as actual money, like the euro or the dollar type of deal. So if there's an item in a store for any game moving forward, it can't just have a price listed for in-game currency. It is mandatory for it to have the price listed in euros as well. Here's a list of the standards companies will now be held to, as well as a small diagram of what they expect to be present for an in-game storefront. Okay, action points to be taken. When an in-game virtual currency or in-game digital content or service are offered for sale, their price in real-world money should be clearly prominently displayed. So this is 750 gems or 5 euros for this cat thing, okay? When in-game virtual currency is offered in exchange for another in-game virtual currency, which the user can buy with real-world money, its price should be indicated also in real-world money. Okay, nice. So virtual currency in exchange for another virtual currency. Okay, so now even with its virtual currency for virtual currency, they need to display how much money that is, which is good. When in-game digital content or services are offered in exchange for an in-game virtual currency, that can be bought directly or indirectly via another in-game virtual currency, their price should be indicated in real-world money. The price should be indicated based on what the customer would have to pay in full, directly or indirectly via another in-game virtual currency, the required amount in-game virtual currency without applying quarterly discounts or other promotional offers. Interesting. I mean, one of the biggest things that a lot of mobile games do is there's permanent discounts on other things. So like it says it's 1,000 gems or $10, but it's discounted for $757, but it's always been that. It has literally never not been that discounted price to make it feel like you have to buy it now or the sale's going to go away, but the sale has literally never disappeared. Although consumers may acquire in-game virtual currency in different ways and quantities, for example, through gameplay or due to promotional offers, this does not change the price of the in-game digital content or service itself. The price must constitute an objective reference for what the real-world monetary cost is, regardless of how the consumer acquires the means to purchase it. That's really cool, honestly. This is the biggest one. This is one of the bigger ones too. So it doesn't matter how they gain the currency. It must show that this will always be 750 gems and $5 or €5, sorry, no matter what. No matter how they gained that 750 gems. The EU isn't outlawing in-game currency entirely. They are, however, forcing the real price of an item to be displayed next to them. That's really good. This even extends to items that can be acquired for free with in-game currency, even if there are free ways to unlock it or alternate ways to earn something. If players can buy it with real money, it has to have a price on it. That, honestly, I agree. Like, this is something that needs to have been happened a long time ago. And unfortunately, the EU is really the only place that really has this type of consumer protection, because at least in the US, this would never fly. The lobbyists would just get lobbied and it wouldn't happen. For example, Marvel Rivals has units, blue free tokens, and Lattice, gold paid tokens. Even though skins can be earned entirely with the free blue currency, the real world currency price of every single one will have to be named. Yes, they will. So all these with the blue currency will have a in-game dollar amount for how much this is actually costing them. And it's the 2,200 price, not the 1,600. So for these bundles, you'd see the cost in euros next to the actual currency to indicate how much it costs. The price of these bundles without the discount would also have to be listed alongside the amount it actually would cost with it applied. Oh, interesting. So it's both. It shows both, with and without the discount. Okay. These, however, there are still ways to skirt around this. The legislation doesn't cover battle pass skins that are earned with the in-game currency and grinding, since those can't be paid for. Okay, that's true. There are other regulations in place, though. For instance, it bars games from requiring players to purchase several different currencies to buy an item. I'm really glad that it happened. Claiming that it makes it difficult to tell what the actual price of the item is. Yeah, they've done that for a while. To be fair, they still kind of do that sometimes. Like, some gacha games still do that, because you can buy an in-game currency, and then that in-game currency gets turned into tickets. So, like, it's different. They found a way around that, unfortunately. This one is huge, however. The third principle bars the practice of gaining currency behind certain amounts they have to be purchased. It's common practice for games to offer currency in packages that leave the consumer just short of being able to buy whatever they want. Yep. For instance, here's the way League of Legends deals your currency. RP is priced. I mean, you can get a skin for 1380 RP, I think. It's 1350 if I remember correctly. When compared to the actual storefront, there are stark differences in the price of items compared to what the currency packages give players. Yeah, like the only one you can buy directly from a RP thing is if you buy the $10 one or the $34 one, because that's what most skins are. But if you want to buy like the expensive skins, you have to get the $50 or the $100 one most of the time. Yeah, and the ones that are, I think the article is going to tell it about, but the one when you have to get this screenshot is actually really bad. Like, it doesn't tell you. Like, the problem is that there's skins that are in between these two, but this doesn't really. I mean, I guess this kind of shows it, because you can buy the 650 one, but the 4,500 one pays for it. If someone wanted to buy the battle pass, they'd be forced to buy either the 2,800 pack for $22 or to buy the 1380 RP pack and the 575 pack for $15.98. But because the players gets more value from 2,800, they're funneled directly towards buying more currency. That's true. To be fair, if you're playing League of Legends, you shouldn't be buying the battle pass, because the battle pass sucks. But, that's completely separate to this. To be clear, this isn't a League of Legends exclusive practice. Yeah, pretty much every game that uses in-game currency works this way, and stores were built this way to incentivize players to spend more money. The laws aim to put a stop to that practice. That's good. Traders should not engage in practices distorting the economic behavior of consumers by designing video games in ways that force the consumer to spend more real-world money on in-game currency than they need to buy the selected in-game content or services. The list of principles explains. Interesting. I didn't see that in this little screenshot that they showed. Did I see that and just not realize that's what it said? Interesting. Okay. So that must be something else that they haven't shown here. On top of this, it also forces stores to allow refunds for at the bare minimum 14 days after the purchase of in-game currency. Publishers can still withhold the rights to make the in-game item itself non-refundable, but the actual in-game tokens used to purchase it is fair game. I can understand that. I don't know about the refunds for in-game microtransactions. In my opinion, is strange because I kind of agree with the law here that I feel like the actual currency itself should be refundable, but the items probably shouldn't be refundable because then because you're not dealing with money after you get the items. Like then you're talking about like, I mean, I guess now by law the in-game currency is money. But it's like if you buy an item from a store in real life from a brick and mortar store, you can get that item refunded if you want, depending on their policies. But most of the time you can do a refund policy or return policy. But if you buy an item, take it home, and then buy an accessory for that item from a different store. No, it's not a different store though. Interesting. It's interesting that the items themselves are not going to be can be non-refundable, because if the in-game currency is now counted as currency, they should be able to for most standards. But we'll see. I guess this is one of the things where they're dipping their toe into this, and we'll see how far they're going to go. The list of principles has some other action points in it, and you can read its entire entry here. Oh, okay, so it's not the whole thing. For now, though, these 8 principles will immediately affect every developer selling microtransactions in their games and force them to make some big changes to the way their storefronts are laid out. And though this will affect the gaming industry as a whole within the country, the reason for this change is mainly to protect children and keep them from being taken advantage of. Honestly, I agree. I've been on a, not necessarily a crusade, but free-to-play games that have microtransactions, I feel like shouldn't be rated E for everyone. I can't remember, is it Peggy that does it? Like, it shouldn't be like the 10 plus. Because an in-game store and all that type of stuff, I feel like kids are very susceptible to that. I mean, it's just like very aggressive advertising for kids on TV and stuff like that, like 20 years ago. So I feel like this is kind of like the same thing of it's just easier to get to. And I think the biggest thing is when there's like gotcha mechanics and gambling mechanics, and the game still is E for everyone. But I feel like that's also a separate problem. This is a really good first step, though. Children spend a lot of time online, gaming, interacting on social media. This makes them attractive targets for traders and advertisers. Mitchell McGrath, Commissioner of the Consumer Protection, explains, "It is crucial to ensure a safe online environment for consumers, particularly children, so they can enjoy gaming without facing unfair practices. I support the efforts of CPC Network and look forward to working with the gaming industry to protect consumers and children." Yes, I think this is a very good step forward to do that, because like the one thing you have to consider is that you want to protect the children, correct, but you also don't want to limit them. You don't want to take things away from them because they're going to try to do it anyway. Like they're going to try to play these online games, and I'm sounding like an old man here, but they're going to try to play games, and they're going to try to interact on social media. So taking that away is not the way to do it. Making it so it's safe for them is the way to do it. Because I feel like a lot of people just say, make it so they can't play these games, or make it so these just aren't available to them. They're gonna figure it out. Kids are smart. I remember like doing stuff like this, like faking your age is easy to do online, especially even when there's a lot of ways to make it harder to do. So it's better just to make it more safe, and having actual prices beside things is a really good start. And I did click on the reading in its entirety. It's a pretty long document, so I'm not going to do it over in this video, but I read it, and there's a lot of good points, and I think this is a really good first step, and I think there is a good future when it comes to this. Now, the only problem I have with this is just the EU. So this is not for everyone, and obviously you can't really have every region has their own thing. So this is probably not going to happen in the US or Canada or the Americas is what I should say. And But I mean, Europe is a big market, so we're going to see how this trickles down. Maybe we'll see. Thank you everyone for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this type of content. I do these all the time, and I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. Once I do, I'll be doing a Q&A video, so if you're interested in that, please subscribe. Comment down below what you guys think about this policy change and legislation change as well for the European Union. I am super happy about it, but I really hope that this is just like a step one. If you like the video, please like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. I understand. If you'd like to check me out on other places, I have a Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky, and Threads if you'd like to check me out on any of those social media platforms. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Goodbye, everyone.